All right, here we go, week 9. If Jesus had a mission statement, there are a lot of cool things that he said. He came to seek and save the lost. He taught, we all know John 3:16, those kinds of verses. One that I really love, though, that I think really captures what he did is John 10:10. And what he says is that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come so you can have life and have it to the full. And Jesus is saying that he came and purchased for us our salvation and our joy. So in him, as we walk with him, is fullness of joy. Not necessarily comfortable circumstances that everything around us will go our way, but that we'll have joy in him no matter what is happening. And there is nothing in this world, no pleasure in this world, that will compare to the joy that we have in him. But I think a lot of us don't really feel like we're experiencing that. I think a lot of us miss out on that kind of joy that we can have. So the question is really, why is that? Where does that come from? And I think a good, helpful answer can be found in 2 Samuel 9, the story of David and this guy named Mephibosheth. Yes, that's his name. What happens is this: David's been blessed by God and shown God's kindness, so he wants to show kindness to someone else. So he goes and he asks, he's like, hey, is there anybody out there that I can be kind to that doesn't deserve it? So they find this guy named Mephibosheth. He's lame in both feet. He's all by himself. He's poor. He has nothing. And he comes from the family of the guy that's been trying to kill David. So that's what he has on his resume. But David goes and grabs him and says, no, I want you to come with me. And his reaction, Mephibosheth, when he goes to David, is, who am I, this dead dog, that you would be kind to me? That's what he calls himself. So that's how he feels with David. There's this image of him feasting at the king's table every day. I mean, think about that. This random guy that has nothing to bring to the table is adopted into the king's family and now is feasting every day at the table. And I told the kids this week that that's us. We are like that. We're separated from God, have nothing to bring to the table. We're broken because of our sin. Yet in his kindness, he came and rescued us. Not because we're awesome, but because he is kind, loving, and gracious. So he invites us then to be adopted into his family and feast at his table. Now that will fully happen one day when we're in heaven, but we can feast in a joyful relationship with him each day as we track closer and closer to that one day. And why do we miss out on that? I think the reason why we miss out on that fullness of joy in knowing him is because we're distracted by a lot of different things. Some of us are distracted just by going through the motions, going to church, that kind of thing, where we're missing the point. Some of us are distracted by all sorts of worldly pleasures. And what Jesus is saying, and what the picture in that story is that if there is a joy or a pleasure that's greater than knowing God, and you could offer that, I would take it. It does not exist. You're not going to find it anywhere, and I'm not going to find it anywhere. The fullness of joy is found in him. And that's really changed my faith over the past few years, because I think I used to have this view of God where he just wanted my obedience. He was mad at me when I was bad. He wanted me to be good. And that's what this whole thing was about. But that's not what this is saying. It's saying he rescues us because of his grace and wants us to have joy in him. So I ended with this little illustration. I had your kids come up. I had one of them come up. And I asked them, who likes Skittles? And they all love Skittles. And I gave one of them next to me Skittles. I let them eat in front of all the other kids. And I told those kids, they hated it, but I told them, the difference between you and this one right here is he's actually tasting the Skittles. You know that they're good, but he's getting to access the goodness of the Skittle. And in the same way, a lot of us know that we have joy in Christ, but are we truly accessing that each day? And my prayer is that we would throw other things off that are getting in the way of that. And we'd run to that joy that we have. We would run and experience the joy and pleasure of knowing him and making him known. There is nothing better than that. And my prayer is that we would get that more and more as we move forward.